quick, Pikapals using the Pika Sprite, of course. I'm not familiar with Desert Eagle's Sprite. I don't know which one that is. Do you happen to know which one that is?
I do not know what that is.
Oh, here we go.
Only have to wait a few minutes, and I'm sure chat will let us know what sprite that is. There are hundreds of sprites in the game at this point. The sprite development community
my
is
gosh.
extremely active.
And already we get some flippers in Link's house. Once they get out of escape, they can actually do something with those flippers, but that can be a progression item.
Well, that's a little bit disappointing. I know that a lot of runners do like to showcase their fake flippering skills, especially early on in the game, and they've just been robbed of that opportunity, and they get to fire right at the uncle.
So something interesting to note real quick about the flippers is that it actually stops them from being able to do the standard Houlihan room. I haven't seen that happen too much in standard mode, the Houlihan, but one of the ways they can do it is to the right of Sanctuary after they leave. But with flippers, you can't do that. So you have to do a different setup to get in the Houlihan.
It's good to know. Runners getting the fire rod, one of the disadvantages of the fire rod is it makes farming for bombs during the escape sequence particularly difficult, only having 8 shots and the limited number of magic refills. Fortunately, Pikapals got very lucky and picked up a bomb drop on his very first green guard kill.
Now, there's a couple of other ways you can farm the guards. There's some pots here, just north of the runners as they went through that hallway there. So maybe you can use the pots to throw the bushes outside. Maybe you can kill a guard that way. So there's a couple things you can do to farm. And we have a bee in a bottle, of course, because we have to have a bee in a bottle.
Well, it's never too early to have a little bit of safety. The bee won't help them too much. Although, as you mentioned, there are lots of ways to farm, and they can farm rats and snakes with that bee. I wouldn't be surprised.
That's true.
If Desert Eagle ends up pulling that bee out if he doesn't find a bomb elsewhere.
So right now, chat, if you're just joining us, we, of course, just started this race. And this section of the standard format is, I mean, rather standard. They go through the escape portion, go downstairs, rescue Zelda, bring her to the Sanctuary through the sewers. Standard 6 minutes. You'll see it anytime you watch a regular speed run of Link to the Past. And, of course, in this standard format of the randomizer. So there's still a lot of items. I think there's 6 items to be had, including a map and a small key that they'll find in chests here. Or a flute. They can find a flute. There's a lot of items in this escape.
They're going to be able to make a very effective Kakariko trip, picking up the sick kid item and flute activation all during their initial trip.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like they don't even have to go back to Kakariko anytime soon once they're there the first time.
All they need is 8 bomb packs from a tree pool, and they'll get Kakariko done in one quick trip.
So one thing to note, as you mentioned earlier, Pikapals did pick up a nice lucky bomb drop from one of the guards. So for Pikapals, he can get to the back 3 chests. You either need boots or a bomb to get there. Desert Eagle, however, he needs to farm bombs. We know the next chest that he's going to reach is a small key because you need that to continue. So the only way he's going to be able to get into those 3 chests at the back of Escape is by getting a lucky bomb drop somewhere. There are no chests on the way, so some enemy has to drop it. Pikapals will be able to check it, so we will be able to see what's in there, and then we'll have to see if it's needed, if it's worth.
In the normal escape sequence, as you can see with both players right now, in order to open that mantelpiece, you need to have Zelda. Once they complete the escape sequence, though, that mantelpiece is permanently opened, just like in the open mode version of Randomizer. So if Desert Eagle is unable to find a bomb, he will be able to come back, even if he does have to go through the entire sewer sequence again.
So Desert Eagle here trying to farm a couple of snakes. Unfortunately, no luck. So I'll have to continue. But yeah, that is a good point. You can always backtrack. It's a shame if they have to backtrack, though, to come all this way if they don't have gloves. Ideally, you want to get a glove to go through the graveyard to get back here, which just drops you when you fall into the pit. You just fall right outside the bomb wall. That's the best path, but, you know, we can get in a situation where we just don't see any gloves until much later on.
Pikapals being a little bit low magic there, did decide to use his B strats and picked up a full magic refill. So hit with the bomb and full magic, he's in an excellent position.
I think that looked like a regular B, wasn't it?
It was a regular B.
Wow. Oh my gosh, we had a sword and a mirror. Oh my. Yeah, Desert Eagle needs to go back for that. So Pikapal's in really good shape. Look at all of those items. I mean, this is the first 6 minutes. What is this?
Yeah, unfortunately for Desert Eagle, that's exactly the type of back of escape that you do not want to end up missing out on.
And there's the map I mentioned. Unfortunately, Desert Eagle didn't know that since he wasn't able to get the 3 chests. Pikapals does. Looks like he's going to pick it up just in case. It's, 2 seconds. Doesn't hurt. Better than missing the chest if there happens to be an item in there.
So ideally, Desert Eagle will end up picking up a glove fairly early at some point and being able to take, as Jet mentioned, the shortcut back into the back of escape. If not, hopefully he will decide to make the long trek through the front again, because the sword and mirror are items that he's definitely going to want to pick up very soon.
So pulling a tree here, there's 3 different pulls you can receive from the tree, 3 different tiers, if you will, which is based on how many enemies you've killed and whether you've taken damage or not. Real quick, Pikapals checked the bush crab, well, both of our runners did, and there happens to be bombs, which is a great prize to get from the bush crabs. But pulling the tree, we saw tier 2, which means they killed at least 4 enemies and took damage. They took damage. And then they just killed 1 more enemy, so if they pull the tree again, it's tier 1.
Knowing those tree pull prizes they can definitely be useful. You'll spend most of the game in the tier 2 state of having killed 4 enemies and taken damage, because that does persist through save and quits. If that turns out being something like red rupees or bombs, you may find players coming back to a tree pull later in the game. At this point, though, really what they want is the bombs, which they got off the bush crabs.
And we also got the red cane in Lost Woods. This is a ton of it. And we haven't even seen a map yet. So we have no idea which dungeons are required. And they're actually not close to getting to Dark World yet, but they do have a lot of items that will be useful later on once they can get to Dark World. Oh no, Desert Eagle taking a death. He was only at half a heart. I mean, he's near Sanctuary. It's not going to be too bad to walk back, but it's unfortunate. Pikapal's heading into Kakariko.
Unfortunately, that Sanctuary door is one way, and he can't use his newly acquired bombs to go pick up those very valuable back escape items.
Yeah, that's true. So there's a ton of items here in Kakariko. Now, of course, they already got a ton of items in Escape, but we have the single arrow, which is the best item in the game. Pikapal's getting it first.
Pikapals also picks up the Master Sword, which is, I think, probably the best progression item in the game. You get double the power of the Fighter Sword, a longer sword. You also open up the tablets, Aghanim's Tower access, and of course it's the minimum requirement to beat Ganon. So knowing that you have that done at 9 minutes in gives you a lot of confidence moving forward.
Yeah, it is nice to be able to kill some Dark World bosses, especially to have at least Master Sword, because Fighter Sword Dark World bosses might not necessarily be very fun.
Desert Eagle, of course, going through the same route, picking up his Fighter Sword. That may give him enough progression that he's disinclined to head back to Escape quite so soon.
All right, not too much yet in town, just that sword, really. Oh, and there is a glove. So, That is one portion, that one part of our Dark World access. You need pretty much 3 items. If we're not talking about killing Aghanim here, you need 3 items. You need a glove, you need the Moon Pearl, of course, and you need either another glove or the hammer. So that's 1/3 of the way there. Of course, if they have to kill Aghanim, I mean, we still need a lantern to be able to see that. So it's hard to say either way if this is an Agaseed or not.
Other than Dark World access, Death Mountain access, and everything else the glove opens up, it does, as you mentioned earlier, open up that secret entrance in the graveyard.
Yeah, so Desert Eagle will be able to go back.
For DE.
So, yes, I was speaking to Desert Eagle earlier, and he mentioned his personal goal is not to lose within more than 30 minutes, but I'm hoping for a much, much closer match between our runners because that is exciting. Yeah, this isn't too bad. They have gloves. In terms of immediate progression, though, the only thing that really unlocks for them is actually that flippers. Because flippers is stuff they can go do right away.
Well, heading out of Kakariko, excluding with sequence breaks, in Eastern, they really only have access to, 4 to 5 items. Most likely South Shore, with its greater item density.
We're getting a tavern check from Desert Eagle. I once told a joke to Armus, but he remained... Oh, I missed it.
He remained stone-faced.
Stone-faced.
Where do you expect that one came from?
That's a cross pawn. You can tell Cross Product wrote it because it's about an enemy in the game. So thank Cross Product for that one. Pikapals doing the race game since he essentially did it blind. Picked it up since he's there and flutes away down to 7 doing the South Shore section.
Having the mirror, Pikapals will be able to push that block and use the mirror during that animation to delete the block. That will save him 1 screen transition.
Now, it looks like Desert Eagle is heading towards the same path. So he'll be heading up the dam section, which didn't really have anything for Pikapals. It looks like he's going to head on over to the mini Moldrum Cave, where there's 5 items inside. Nice use of the bombs there from Pika.
Yes, sword beams definitely makes that easier.
Oh, we got the hammer. That's part 2 of our Dark World access. Although it seems a lot less likely that we're going to see an Agaseed at this point. Really, the only way we're going to see an Agaseed is if Moon Pearl's sitting on the pyramid.
And, a big indicator of that is them going to be finding the lamp.
Right. And we had a sword sitting in the middle of the water there in the lake. That's our 3rd sword. They can easily get tempered once they can reach the Dark World.
Absolutely. For any viewers not familiar with how swords work in this game, they use a progression system. So every time you find a sword, it will be 1 level higher than your previous sword, regardless of the order that you pick them up in. Armor and shields work in the exact same manner.
Right, which is really interesting to see if, let's say, Pikapals actually found another sword. If he goes back to Lake afterwards, it looks like Sword 4 instead of Sword 3. It just upgrades overnight.
And we'll see that that's shown right here in Desert Eagle's side. He sees the Master Sword instead of the Tempered Sword on the island.
So Pikapals went up, fluted up to Death Mountain. He's doing of course, rescuing the old man in the dark, which isn't too bad. You have a sword. You can actually use that as a reference point while you do things in the dark. It's a sort of quick trip through there to rescue the old man. Quick sequence break for an ice rod. I mean, we haven't seen the map yet, right? I'm not imagining that.
No, I don't believe we've seen a map check on either side. Although, other than medallions, of course, and the Titan's mitts, he does have all of the Turtle Rock completion items. So that most likely means Turtle Rock is going to be a pendant.
That's right. Because it gives you all the items to go in early.
Absolutely.
There's got to be some trolls. I mean, this is too forgiving of a seed so far. We are 15 minutes in, and look at all that stuff marked on the tracker already.
Desert Eagle doing an Ice Rod Cave check. I don't believe I saw Pikapals make that Ice Rod Cave check.
Nah, he fluted away right after just the heart. And looks like he's making his way into Hera now. And again, he doesn't know what it is. If it's a pendant or if it's a crystal. He's just going to go for it. Now, he can determine what this dungeon is by the music that plays in here. If you hear the Light World dungeon music, it's a pendant. Whereas if you hear the Dark World dungeon music, it's a crystal. So just by listening to the music, he can tell what item he's going to get. Oh, Desert Eagle, he was at Sanctuary, but he fluted away. Almost went to back of escape.
Almost went there. Well, that'd be
oh, no bombs. Songlee's pointing out he didn't have any bombs. Oh, he went in there. I don't think we saw it, though.
No,
There's some stream troubles.
Unfortunately, that wasn't visible, but it looks like he did make a flute to desert. He would have checked the desert ledge item, which we did not see on this side, and he did make an Ingenious Cave check. Picking up those 10 bombs, most likely he is going to follow up and do that back of escape.
It's something to remember, the different locations that actually require bombs. We got a vanilla moon pearl. That is our Dark World Axe. What is this seed? Who generated this? I'm gonna go yell at them.
Desert Eagle going back here. I guess that he went here and didn't realize that he didn't have the bomb.
So, in terms of items that we're looking at right now, that are definitely required in the game, we still need bow, we still need hookshot, and we still need mitts. Like, those are the big three that we have to keep an eye out for. But depending on which dungeons are crystals and pendants, that might be it. And Hera was a crystal, so there's the first crystal for Pikapals. It looks like Desert Eagle is heading to the back of escape now.
Absolutely, they have their Dark World Axes now, and we did see the Lumberjack Cave check earlier, knowing that that is not a required progression item. So with what they have and the flippers, I don't believe that they're locked from any Dark World locations.
And of course, while up here, it looks like Pikapal's going to go ahead, clear out the rest of Light World Death Mountain. Desert Eagle just picked up his Master Sword and Mirror, which is, honestly, I think the big find there is the Mirror, because we saw that it ultimately leads to Moon Pearl.
Absolutely required. I wouldn't be surprised to see him also make the Death Mountain trip.
We got a walk of shame from Pikapals. Since we don't have boots, got to go the long way. And it looks like Desert Eagle's going to go have a little chat with Zora. Although, he doesn't have enough rupees. So he might just do the Waterfall Fairy. Which I don't think we saw from Pikapals, did we? He did the Hobo.
I believe he did Hobo and then either saved and quit or mirrored out. So we haven't seen any of the Zora's Domain area from either player.
All right, real quick, we have to keep an eye on both streams, see if we get anything good. Just the tunic upgrade for Desert Eagle. Pikapals is going to get 2 items here. The hook shot. Mirror required to get over here to get hook shot. Because there's 2 ways to get to the right-hand side of Death Mountain. Either the hook shot or a combination of the hammer and mirror. So there you go. There's the hook shot.
Well, Pikapals is definitely getting the progression advantage there, although I'm sure Desert Eagle is at least satisfied with his blue mail upgrade. With only 7 hearts, that's a comfortable safety.
All right, so we got a lot of items, and that's actually a fair bit of the game that's unlocked for Pikapals here with that hammer. So it looks like he's going to do the Village Outcast now. He has Fire Rod, so he can also opt to do Skull Woods while he's there. Desert Eagle's going to make his way, no bow, but he's going to make his way into Eastern and get a few items here. Well, once he has a little chat with Sahashala. So yeah, we got 8 hearts, so not too bad. About 8 hearts. Blue tunic on Desert Eagle side, so a fair bit of safety. Although no safety potions, no bug net to get some fairies.
Not much value in Sasha's hut tonight.
No. Oh, that was a quick map check. I only saw a crystal in Eastern. And a pyramid fairy crystal down at Desert. So all crystals in the light world here. Which is actually a good sign for seeing, you know, maybe Pendant Turtle Rock like you mentioned.
Absolutely. Having the light world dungeons, which of course are typically easily accessible and easier to complete, all be crystals, is something that typically any runner is happy to see.
So quick shout out to our tracker, Merc. He actually caught that the Hera crystal was also a pyramid fairy crystal. So that actually means being able to beat both of the light world dungeons, Desert and Hera, will unlock the pyramid fairy for our runners. And basically they only need Book to get into Desert. Book or Myths. Pikapals has to play it a little safe since he's down to 2 hearts. So he's updating his location there. So 1 hit will kill him, but now he could take a hit and just get a health refill and start at that entrance there to Skull Woods. Desert Eagle picking up a piece of heart. Not much in Eastern. There's 3 total items that he could get in Eastern, but one of them may be at the boss. So he's going to get 2 or 3 items here. And just as a note, Pikapals, he can get 2 items here in Skull Woods. And a lot of crystals. A lot of keys.
As Desert Eagle will need to do the first Eastern Dark Room to pick up one of those items at a minimum.
Not keys. Oh, just another piece of heart for Desert Eagle. Pikapals did do a quick map check, but I did not see a thing. Pendant, Thieves, Swamp, and Pod. I sort of missed which one was green, but I think Swamp was green.
Those quick map checks are what clipping and screenshots and waiting for the tracker is for.
Okay. Yep. But with Pendant, Thieves is an easy dungeon. It's a shame to see it as a pendant. That's actually a hard call to make if you actually want to take the investment the time investment to do a pendant dungeon. Now, there's 4 items in Thieves. Pendant Swamp, I've seen a lot of runners just sort of avoid that place if they can. But given the items they have now, they can full clear Swamp. And then, of course, Pod requires Bow. So if you viewers are hoping for a ped seed, we can actually see a Mitts at pedestal right now. That is possible. Of course, we can also have the medallions that are required. That's about it.
Unfortunately, Desert Eagle died attempting to do the big key skip.
In
Eastern, he'll need to either. Looks like he's deciding to exit out.
There are a couple of hearts in the pots there next to the button. So something to keep an eye out for. They do 1 heart of damage, so you do have to be careful, knowing how much health you have, so you don't take a death there.
Well, he is continuing.
He took a death warp. We're getting correction, so that was intentional. I didn't see what was in the chest, unfortunately.
Thank you for the update, chat. He's now rescuing the old man and continuing on in his Death Mountain trip, having picked up the mirror. So he will be getting the remaining items up there, including the invaluable hook shot. And unfortunately, the ice rod as well.
Yeah. Well, they definitely need ice rod. We know Turtle Rock is a crystal. So yeah, the question for Pikapals is, does he go and full clear these? He's at least going to check the first 4 things.
Well, having all of the items required to be able to full clear it in a single trip means that it's not going to take that much time. He's already in the Village of Outcasts area. Being a pendant, of course, isn't ideal, but Thieves Town seems to be one of those dungeons that most players will clear, even if it is a pendant.
Well, we did get Quake, which could potentially be one of the required medallions. We don't know yet. And we won't know until one of the runners gets Mitts. Desert Eagle, I think, went the wrong way.
I'm not sure where he is.
That's actually that's the way you leave.
That's the way you leave after picking up the Paradox Cave item.
Right.
Yeah, if you fall off of the ledge a little bit too far to the left, then you'll go into that second cave entrance. Pikapals picked up the cape in Thieves Town, which will unlock the bumper cave item for him. Having the mirror, he may choose now to make that Northern Dark World check.
Right.
Bumper cave graveyard ledge. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the boots yet, so he can't do a King's Tomb check.
Now, Desert Eagle is in Sank. Is he making an Aga play? And this is going to be in the dark, too, because he has no lantern. I don't know if he's practiced that. This is a really interesting play. So he hasn't seen Moon Pearl since he didn't go up to Hera, and I think he's gambling that the pyramid's going to be something, but this is going to be hard.
Well, Desert Eagle is missing both the Moon Pearl and the hammer, so he needs 2 items in order to get his Dark World
Wait,
access.
where was the hammer? Hammer was... No, that was from the, I thought he got it.
That was in Mini Moldorn Cave, wasn't it?
Yeah, I could have sworn I saw him talk to the guy. We'll have to see his inventory when he opens it. If he doesn't have hammer, well, that's scary.
Right, I was just looking at the tracker. He must have it, because I believe that was an early item in Mini Moldorn Cave.
This is quite a gamble from Desert Eagle.
Well, logically, in order to complete this, you need the Master Sword or the cape, and you need the lamp at a minimum. So, by going in here with without the lamp, he's assuming that the lamp is in an easily accessible location. The moon pearl is in a difficult to access, but early dark world location.
So Pikapals almost finished his dungeon here. He still hasn't gotten the map. So there's at least one more item here, and there's of course the dungeon map item for Pikapals and Thieves here. And speaking of the map, there it is. So Desert Eagle abandoning doing a dark. Honestly, I really do think it's the hardest dark rooms in the game. The enemies, the way the enemies can come after you if you don't have an easy way to deal with them. That part is, I guess, yeah, that can be annoying. And plus, there's the pit room, which is on the next floor.
Absolutely, there are a number of rooms in those dark rooms that have. Sorry, there are a number of areas in those dark rooms that have torches. So having the fire rod, you could potentially light those torches and get through there much easier. But I don't believe he had any magic, and that's of course something that you still have to know where they are.
Yeah.
Looks at this point like he's deciding to farm up rupees and check that Zora item. Zora is one item that's accessible to him. East Death Mountain, of course, has 8 items rather.
Yeah.
Plus the 2 items in Hera that are also accessible, given his access to the flute and the mirror.
So we didn't see anything of worth really in Thieves. There was Quake, which was in the first section, but the last part of Thieves was, a bit of a disappointment. Again, this is still pedestal is on the table. We don't know how likely it is yet. Well, but it is an option.
And until we see for sure what's on Bumper Cave, we can't absolutely rule out the value of the cave. That could potentially be required.
So it looks like something happened to Desert Eagle. We don't know yet. Maybe something in real life he had to go deal with. Looks like he's going to head to Zora. We're seeing Pikapals head on over to the shovel game. Dig something up.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Jet. With access to the flippers and the flute, is it faster to get to Zora by fluting to 8 and taking that portal there?
I think so. I think it's a little faster. I mean, you do have time to pick up the boulder. It's not that much of a difference, but I do believe 8 is faster.
Well, we did not see the Zora item on Pikapal's side, so this will. We know this will not give Desert Eagle his Dark World access, but it still may be something that Pikapals will have to pick up later on.
I mean, if he gets mitts here, that'd be really good. And we got a bottle of green goo, which is useful, but spending that time is not the sort of thing you want to see there. You see some frustration slashes. Let's see what Pikapals digs up with that shovel he found.
Unfortunately, it looks like Desert Eagle is attempting to flute out of Zora's domain. And this is one of the few places that the flute does not work outside, unfortunately.
Oh, I don't think Desert Eagle realizes he has Hera access. I think that's the problem here. He feels like he ran out of stuff to do. Uh-oh. Oh, no. I hate when this happens. When this happens to me, it feels so bad. You think you've done everything. You could have sworn, like, I went everywhere. I'm missing that one key item that basically unlocks everything. So you have to sit there and, like, think to yourself, like, what did I miss? Oh, here we go. He's already up at Death Mountain.
It looks like he took a look at his inventory and his map and decided that Death Mountain was, in fact, where he wanted to go. So he's back on the right track.
Maybe he didn't realize he picked up Mirror in the back of Escape. Alright, looks like Pikapals is continuing with these pendant dungeons. while he's here, we didn't even see Hype Cave yet. We're going right for Swamp. Now there are 6 items in total here in Swamp that Pikapals can get. And it's a green pendant, so 1 more from Sashala.
Until he finds the mitts, he doesn't really have any very good overworld high-density item locations. So checking Swamp Palace, even though the dungeon itself might not be required, does give him the the ability to pick up quite a few items in a relatively short period of time.
Yeah, it definitely is a nice location to check when you're looking for items here. In addition, we also have Hype Cave, which is a dense location. Other than that, yeah, like you mentioned, there's not much else. There's a couple of locations that are 1 or 2 items that you can get. We could see an early dip into Pod. They can't complete it yet without Bow, but they might be able to get a few items in there. So yeah, other than that, let's see what's in Swamp. Desert Eagle about to pick up his Moon Pearl, his vanilla Moon Pearl.
I'll make him very happy knowing that he's back on the right track.
There it is. So that is his Dark World access. Hopefully he continues to the right-hand side of Death Mountain where Hookshot is.
Pikapals gets that small heart container, which gives him a full heart refill.
So it looks like he's going to do the back half of Swamp first. There's more items in the back than there is on the left-hand side. But you don't know where the progression is.
Most likely, if he doesn't find all of the items here, he most likely will come back in for potentially 3 items, including the big chest. Doing the back first increases the odds that he'll pick up the big key and not have to double back for that 1 item.
Right. All right, while we look at some more items, Desert Eagle's going to tackle Moldorm. And we did see a compass on Pikapal's side. So given a compass there, that means there's at least 1 item on the left-hand side there.
Desert Eagle does a very nice Moldorm fight, doesn't get knocked off. Takes him out with 3 Master Swordsmiths.
So there's the first crystal for Desert Eagle there. And yeah, he's going back in for Tile Room. Did we even see that from Pikapal's side?
I don't believe we did.
Oh, the back, that's why. Okay, Desert Eagle just did it. Uh-oh. Well, so there's only 2 items in Hera. It looks like the compass is sitting in after Tile Room.
Yeah, see, the first item was the Moon Pearl, and then he got that 10 arrow upgrade at the, what is that, the Vanilla Mapper Compass chest.
Wait, what?
I said the 10 hour upgrade in Tower.
Oh, in what is that? That's
I
probably
wasn't sure
the
if
map.
that was the Vanilla Map or Compass.
So I think usually in a dungeon you get map first and then compass afterwards. So I'm gonna guess map, but I never opened that chest in vanilla, so I don't know. We got a bottle from Argus. Still no progression in Swamp yet. Pendant dungeons are turning out to be sort of disappointing.
Yes, he's just picked up bombs, capacity upgrades. That blue potion was his first actual item. It's nice to have the blue potion, give you a little bit of safety. Pikapals, with his skill level, isn't going to need too much safety, but it is nice to have.
Oh, Desert Eagle fluting away. And going right to Village of Outcasts. I mean, so far, as long as that Sahasra pendant is not required, getting that hook shot later won't be too big of a deal. Although it could be required to get into Mire if they don't find boots.
Absolutely. If you know, we know that the mitts are not in eastern Death Mountain, so most likely, you know, when Desert Eagle does find them, he'll pick up the hook shot well before he actually needs it for any progression.
The hook shot was in Paradox Cave over on the right-hand side of Death Mountain. Another map check on Desert Eagle side just to confirm what we know. And yes, Sasha pendant. Well, we saw it on Pikapals side anyway. It was dropped there, but there it is.
This is a case where the lack of the item may actually prove to be some benefit if not having the hook shot discourages him from going to Swamp, which so far hasn't yielded any value.
Right. Well, we'll see if Pikapals gives anything on the right-hand side. He will get the big key over there, so unfortunately he's going to have to double back to check that big chest. Now, I don't think there was any progression here in Skull Woods, so Desert Eagle will just pick up his 2 items and move on. Oh, just 50 rupees. He'll get the biggie here, and there should be one more item, I think, in the big chest. And real quick, I guess I could point out in the race chat that Desert Eagle said, "Trolled myself." So that would be when he realized he could go up the Hera.
Well, unfortunately, that happens to everybody.
Yep, it does. You play a lot of rando, you're going to get things mixed up, or you're just going to miss something. It happens.
I know a lot of runners tend to have a policy where they will only do one. They will only do their tournament race if they have a race that day. It can be so easy to confuse multiple seeds if you run them back to back.
Absolutely. We had a whole bunch of nothing for Pikapals in Swamp. So if Desert Eagle just completely skips it, now Sahashala Pendant could still be something. But other than that, Swamp, not really worth the time.
Yes, other than that pendant, and of course,
oh, there's the bow.
All right, Hype Cave.
There's a lantern. Hype Cave? Got anything else? Blue goo.
I'm gonna give that a 7 out of 10 hype.
Bow. We are down to potentially 1 item away from go mode for all we know. But that does mean pedestal is now open. Bow was the thing we needed for that. And technically lantern too. Because pod is locked by logic until you get lantern. The last portion of pod, I should say.
Absolutely. Pikapals now has the ability to full clear both pod and eastern. And by having the mirror, he will be able to route in both of those in the same trip, as well as turning in that green pendant. So we will not have to wait long to find out what that item is. If Desert Eagle decides to check Hype Cave first, he may skip Swamp altogether and go directly to pod, making the same play.
You can see Desert Eagle's conserving some of his magic here by doing the 1 shot with the Fire Rod to get 2 lanterns. Fire Rod against Mothula deals the same damage as slashes from Master Sword. I think you need 8, if I recall correctly.
You do need 8. It looks like he has 7 going in. That puts him in a very good position. Pikapals had half magic. I don't recall where he picked that up.
Where was half magic? That's true.
He had it at Mothula.
I don't remember where that was. Maybe someone in chat will remember.
That, you know what? I believe that
Paradox Cave.
That was East Death Mountain as well. Yes. Paradox Cave had the hook shot and the half magic.
Oh, there's another crystal for Desert Eagle. Pikapals making his way up to Catfish here, and I imagine he will check the other swimming locations that he skipped earlier.
It's always a good idea to watch your rupee count and purchasing the. So he went to, where did he go? He didn't go into pod. He went straight up to pyramid.
Right.
So
you still need 110 rupees for pod, and like you mentioned, he does have to be careful. He's going to spend 500 rupees here on Zora, so he's going to have to farm, 35 rupees since you need 110 to get into pod. So that's something to be careful of.
Yes, you said exactly what I was trying to say in far fewer words.
So this will be interesting to see what Pikapals does after this. I forget what Zora dropped. It was just a heart container, wasn't it? It was a life lesson. Oh, it was the green goo. That's right. So he will have to farm for some rupees here. 2 big 20s are required.
That does give him all 4 bottles, though.
Oh my gosh, all 4 bottles. 46 minutes in, but still no mitts. Oh, but he hasn't checked the back of Sahasrara. And I think we saw some rupees there.
Well, if he doesn't have the rupees, he can always choose to go into Eastern first. That is
True.
crystal, and there is a room in the back of Eastern with blue rupees in it. So he'll have no trouble getting the money that he needs.
All right, Desert Eagle is heading into Thieves. We'll see if he chooses to do just the first 4, or if he's going to continue all the way to the back.
And we're about to see what that green pendant was worth.
Oh, here we go. Just 5 rupees. So it's looking like swamp not required at all, unless it's a pedestal seed.
And Pikapals is going to pick up Kiki and then find Kiki is not willing to do him any favors.
Well, he'll walk to the palace, but nope, not going to open it. You need 100 rupees for that.
Well, this is actually nice. We get to see the message if you use the mirror when you have Kiki.
That's all right. Once he's done Eastern, he can go back. There's a cave for Desert Eagle. He mirrors. That could be really good. If this is not a ped seed, that'll save Desert Eagle a little bit of time here. He got the cape, which could be required for all we know. We haven't seen Bumper Cave. And he got Quake.
Right. But those are both of the potential progression items in Thieves Town. We have not, like I said, we haven't seen Bumper Cave yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if he does head up that way.
So Pika hasn't been here at all. He's going to full clear this dungeon while he's here, but no issues. We got the bow, which is required, 41 arrows, and the lantern to do the runes in the dark anyway. Yeah, we'll have to see how Pikapals farms for his remaining less than 40 rupees that he needs for Kiki.
Looks like we're going to have to wait a little
Oh,
while
stun
there.
prizes. That is a nice stun prize.
It's a very ideal stun prize. It's always a good idea to know what the stun prize is, specifically for situations like this. The stun prize can be red rupees, it can be full magic pots, it can even be fairies. If you find out that it's a particularly valuable item early on, you can end up using that quite often. So
Right.
we're not going to get a chance to see what that bumper cave item is at this point. Desert Eagle is taking the southern path, same as Pikapals. If he checks Hype Cave prior to going into Swamp, though, that may give him the direction that he needs to make the pod play.
So, chat, you guys hoping for a pet seed? Are we hoping for the rare mitts at pedestal? I mean, I sort of want to see that. That would be fun.
Yes, it's so often that you're getting an ice rod at pedestal, or maybe the bow, or medallion, but it's so rarely the mitts.
Right. It's actually interesting if it were the mitts, because the game sort of funnels you that way. There's a lot that's unlocked in the Dark World that requires those mitts. I mean, with 3 dungeons locked behind them on their own. So you can usually tell when a seed has that required. Desert Eagle just picked up his bow, so let's see if he decides to continue on over to pod. And he also needs rupees, but again, just like Pikapals, he can opt to go into Eastern first.
And Desert's already obtained most of the items in Eastern, so he'll be able to make a beeline straight for Armos, picking up those rupees on the way.
Trolled a little bit by the Igor.
And it looks like that's exactly where he's going.
And we'll see a vanilla kill of Armos here. Nicely done from Pikapals. Of course, we already saw all the items, but it's a crystal. Got to do it anyway.
So of course we still don't know where the mitts are or what the pedestal item is, but it's based off of the moves that Desert Eagle made, he potentially made up a 15-20 minute deficit.
Gotta go back, collect Kiki.
And Pikapals is having absolutely no trouble just plowing through these dungeons.
Yep. Oh no! Got hit though, and that's the problem. The moment you take any damage when you have Kiki, she just runs away. He or she, I don't, whichever.
Yeah,
so we have
Kiki with 110 rupees is one of the scariest moments in the game.
Yeah, you really have to pay attention, and you can certainly get burned by just not having enough rupees. You don't really expect it by this point in the game. Like, you figure you would have gotten some 300 chests, and it can happen.
That's absolutely true. In Randomizer, typically you end up finishing seeds with 1,000, 1,500, sometimes even 2,000 or plus rubies if you don't end up buying any potions. Money is very rarely a problem.
So I think there's 90 rupees in the back here. We'll see if Desert Eagle goes for it. Yep. And that'll be just enough, assuming he doesn't get hit. He should also be fine getting Kiki. We'll see what's on the right-hand side here for Pikapals.
Pikapals maneuvers that Red Mimic very well, getting 2 arrows and without having to reposition. That's something that takes a little bit of timing.
Now, there's a total of 4 small keys you can usually get. I think it's by logic, it's required to get 4 small keys in the first half of pod, assuming you have the bell and access to the bell. So given that Pikapals picked up a compass, if he picks up one more thing that's not a key, then he basically knows where the other small keys are.
Yes, Palace of Darkness has so many keys and so many single chests located behind locked doors that taking the time to learn that key logic can really save you a few steps. Like Pikapals right there, using a key to get a key is one of those things that you could potentially avoid, depending on the sequence you complete the dungeon.
Now, it is a good thing he did the middle of the dungeon here, since he just picked up the big key. That was one of the non-small key items there. And honestly, right now, our runners are really close. Pikapals did a couple of extra dips into some pendant dungeons, which unfortunately did not pay off for him, although we still don't know if this is a pedestal seed. So they might ultimately turn out in his favor. We'll just have to wait and see. So there's only one more small key left in the dungeon here. It can never be in the dark maze.
So if one of these is a small key, then you do or do not have to go into the Harmless Hellway.
So in this case, since he didn't get a small key, he should skip the room just south here. It's a guaranteed small key, which he does skip. So he's been keeping track of that. It's a guaranteed small key because you can unlock this door, and you need a small key for downstairs to get the Helmisar, which is why there's one in that Harmless Hellway. There's rupees when you don't need them anymore. There they are.
It seems that both you and Pikapals, learned quite a bit through your trek through the Key Sanity tournament.
Yeah. You definitely learn how to deal with Pod in Key Sanity. I will have to say that. All right, we got one item on Helmisar. Still no progression. I mean, we're really just looking for mitts at this point.
Well, at this point, already having two pendants, he's going to get that third pendant just in case.
Yep. Oh man, we might see a blind pull of the pedestal coming up soon. I mean, in terms of things that they still have to do, we saw Catfish. We haven't seen North Graveyard or Bumper Cave. So those are two locations we haven't seen yet. I think that's it. We've basically seen everything else, haven't we? No, Spike Cave.
Spike Cave.
Alright, so... And Pedestal.
This could potentially open up tablets or boot locations if he gets one of those items, but otherwise, like you said, you're right, there's not too many locations left.
Right, so barring they don't get anything like boots or book, like those are the places that our runners have left. Like collectively, they don't know what the other person has checked, of course.
Of course, our God's eye view here gives us the advantage. Pikapal's doing an excellent job using NMG strats on those turtles, taking them out in one cycle. I'm sure both players are fortunate that are glad that they decided to check Hype Cave and pick up that lamp prior to going in the pod. No doubt that they could do the dark rooms, but it's definitely not as much fun.
Sure.
17 hammer hits to remove the mask, and either 8 arrows or 8 master sword slashes.
It's funny, we have seen the temperature, but neither runner opted to go get it yet. And it's something they can reach. You just need flippers and mirror to get there.
Pikapal's got a couple hammer hits in there, which is very difficult to do. So, nice execution on Pikapal's side.
And just arrows. So yeah, pedestal, graveyard ledge, bumper cave, and spike cave. We have like a 25% chance that pedestal is required right now.
Well, he's going to be fluting the 3 either way.
The 41st of July. Of course, Cross. All right. What will Ped be? All right, chat. Get your pedestal hypes here. Right to RNG. We're about to see what's at pedestal. Is it our mitts? Is it the book?
I got distracted spending the last 60 seconds trying to figure out the cross-product reference.
Oh. And notice he went right there. He's not even taking the Dark World to set up Bumper Cave. He is trusting in pedestal.
No, chat. You cannot find the book on the pedestal. That is a paradox.
No, you can. It's a red ruby!
You can't. Sorry, you can't read the pedestal. Or is it?
Right.
It says it's a paradox. Yeah.
Wow. So yeah, Pikapals, he invested the time in these pendant dungeons, and it was not worth. Maybe Quake and Kate, but that's it.
Well, unbeknownst to Desert Eagle, that is going to give him a significant advantage in catching up some of the lost time.
All right, so it looks like Pikapal is going to continue over to Bumper Cave, probably followed by Graveyard Ledge if it is nothing.
I'm trying to remember now. Did Pikapals check the shovel spot?
Check the what spot?
The shovel spot.
Hold on. Having audio issues. Okay. Sorry. The shovel spot, yes, that was checked. I think it was a heart container. There's the oh my gosh. They could have gotten that ages ago too. They just had no idea. Wow, there it is, just sitting up there on Bumper Cave.
Well, that does at least make the front of Thieves Town required, because that's where the cape was. Yep.
Alright, so that unlocks the last 3 dungeons, although we don't know which medallions are required. I imagine we're going to see a Mire check sooner than later. But, of course, Dark Death Mountain does have a lot of items up there. Oh, Ped is dead. It was a big 20.
Pikapals is going to go ahead and make the Graveyard Ledge check while he's here. There's no other good time to route this in. Might as well get it done.
Yeah. Alright, Desert Eagle is going to take on Helmassar while we check this item over here. Holding out the sword. Holding out the sword does help the hitbox for the hammer a little bit. Plus, it's a little safety because you're always facing forward and can just plink off of him.
So what do you anticipate seeing here? A Misery Mire area check or a Death Mountain check?
I mean, I feel like Mire, I say as Pikapals chooses that option. Mire, simply because you can check, you can get 2 quick items here. Checkerboard Cave's not too far away. You can mirror to Desert, which is another crystal dungeon. Our Fat Fairy crystal. It looks like we need Bombos. We're looking for Bombos to get into Mire. And just having that quick knowledge so you know how close am I to go mode. Because Pikapals might have put himself into go mode if he saw that it was Quake.
Right, and what tends to happen is when you see a medallion that you don't have, it's either very, very close, like Mire Shed or Checkerboard Cave, or it'll be on Laser Bridge. There doesn't seem to be too much middle ground.
Alright, so nothing good on the ledge there. Desert Eagle just finished off Helmisar. I imagine he's making his way to Pyramid and Catfish. Now, he doesn't have Hookshot, so he can't go from Catfish to Graveyard Ledge and Bumper Cave. If he wants to go there, he's going to have to flute to Village of Outcasts.
If he wants to go there, and he does go there via that route, though, that will actually be very good for him, because that will force him to see the mids.
So we just saw the big key on the torch. That means boots are required.
Absolutely.
And they're not in Desert either. Since the big key unlocks the small key, which is in the big chest, and there might be one item over there or might not be. So we are now looking for Bombos and Boots. We are now 2 items away from Go Mode. And that also means Boots are not at the Pyramid Ferry either. All right, nothing in Checkerboard. Pikapals hasn't seen Agina, so he's going to go in there real quick. Desert Eagle making his way up to Catfish. Now, he's already done the Zora area, so he'll just be able to leave after getting the Catfish item. So where are those boots? Where's that Bombos? How many of these items are actually sitting in Turtle Rock right this second?
Pikapals also does have the option to clear Ice Palace first if he wants to. He is heading south.
Oh, he might be also picking up that sword first. Yeah, every one of these progression items could actually be up at Turtle Rock right now. So it could be like you said, and we're going to have to see an early dip. Well, not at this point, not that early, but no Go Mode Turtle Rock.
Well, it looks like you're right, that he is going to get that Tempered Sword on Hylia Island. It'll be interesting to see whether he flutes away at that point, or if he jumps down and does ice. Getting back to ice with the flute really doesn't take any time at all, so it's not exactly something that you have to do while you're in the area. But it looks like he is choosing to do it.
All right, we're going to get our Ice Palace check. There are 3 items that he could get in here, in addition to the crystal at the end. And it looks like Desert Eagle went back up to Death Mountain. He's going to do the right-hand side, which will ultimately give him the hook shot.
So we'll give him the hook shot. This will give him the hookshot and the half magic, but that may lead him to Swamp, unfortunately, rather than to the mitts.
Yeah, the Bumper Cave is a little out of the way. It's like one thing versus looking at Swamp, which has 6 items in it. So it's more tempting to go for the item density at this point. So we'll have to see what Desert Eagle decides to do. And we'll have to see what items are here in Ice. Oh, the last sword. And that's one of our 3 items. It's nice to have, especially this story when you still have a number of bosses to fight.
It's nice to have, and it's nice to find an item in that first chest, reducing the odds that you'll have to make an iced tea room check.
Right.
Pikapals is using the double bomb strategy there to set the switches in the correct position for the bomb jump.
Oh, we're getting a Spike Cave check on Desert Eagle side. So this is something new.
Something new. It could potentially be the Bombos medallion that they both need.
Oh, I'm not sure if he has enough, though. No, so the downside of the cape is when you're trying to pick up an item, it actually drains magic faster. Now, one trick you could do is you can actually refill with a potion, behind a torch. If you stand behind a torch, there's no spikes there. So you could just stay there, decape, drink your potion, and then continue on.
I know he has a green potion. I'm not sure if he. I think he might. Does he stop the blue?
I think so.
So Pikapals is picking up a second item there, which is bombs or bomb capacity, I believe.
So we got the big key so far in ice. We got one of our items out of the way. It looks like Pikapals is heading up on the right-hand side, where there's going to be a total of 3 more chests. Who knows how many items are over there, though?
So Desert is heading to the right side now to pick up those items, including, as we've discussed before, the hookshot.
Piece of heart. Oh, trolled by dead rocks. Confirmed worst enemy in this game.
And I thought that was his third item, but I may have misseen the item that was in the skeleton room, the freezer room.
I thought that was the big king. I think that's all he got. Yeah.
It looked like a bomb capacity upgrade. It kind of just, froze for a second there. It was difficult to see.
It looks like we are going to see the iced tea room before the big chest.
So the item is either in the big chest or one cold stare.
Aside from Death Mountain, and of course, Turtle Rock, we could also see Pikapals opt to do the blacksmith and purple chest with the hammer pegs on the way as well. Like, those are things that are unlocked by the myths. Just 10 arrows, so ice. Also, I mean, you get Butter Sword, but no progression.
No progression, but it is a crystal, and then as I've heard some people say, always be clearing dungeons.
That is a good rule of thumb.
With Butter Sword, half magic here, Pikapals is going to have a very, very fast cold stare fight. It's going to be fun to watch.
Oh, look at that. Shotgunning. Oh, machine gunning, I should say, not shotgunning. Butter Sword making quick work of Cold Stare. He, of course, will just drop a map, a burrito, and
excellent execution as expected. Cold Stare didn't even get out of the corner. At this point, his options are, as you said, the Blacksmith's Chain or heading up to Turtle Rock. Dark Death Mountain, of course, gives you much higher item density. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where he goes.
So Desert Eagle just pulled out his hammer. I think he might be heading into Swamp right now. It's like we mentioned, it's an item-dense location, so it looks much more appealing for checking things out. Even though it is a pendant, and again, always be clearing dungeons says, hey, you should check this out even though it's a pendant. It's just unfortunate that we already know it's not worth the time. Alright, Pikapals is up at Death Mountain. We're going to get 6 items over here on the right-hand side of Dark Death Mountain. Looks like he's going to go up to Turtle Rock first to see if he can even get in.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned earlier, Desert Eagle's self-proclaimed goal is to finish within 30 minutes. So he may be disinclined to try to make those very risky one-off location checks in hopes of progression and stick with the tried and true item density approach, just to, like I said, get the solid completion without necessarily taking those wild gambles.
Oh, it's Quake. Confirmed Turtle Rock has everything. So we need Mombos, we need boots. That is it. Once we get those 2 items, we're in go mode. Oh, and Pikapal's wasting no time going right into Turtle Rock. Keep in mind, he's not checked the rest of Dark World Death Mountain. He's probably going to do it after Turtle Rock here.
Yes, it is a quick check to look at those 6 item locations, the 4 in Hookshot Cave and then the 2 in Super Bunny Cave. If he finds the progression items that he needs at those locations, he could skip having to make those checks in the much longer Turtle Rock.
Well, at least he'll be able to get everything here with the mirror. Desert Eagle making his way through Swamp. We'll see if he decides to go to the back half right away, or if he checks the left-hand side first.
Knowing that Pikapals needs 2 items, he may be intending just to full clear this regardless of what he finds.
Right. It's not usually too bad to full clear Turtle Rock. Just because you need so many small keys anyway. Just the book. The book unlocking 2 more locations for us.
Well, I'm sure the book is something that he would have really preferred to have a lot earlier in order to do that pedestal check.
Right.
It's not something you want to see at this point in time. Having to backtrack to the Bombos tablet is quite out of the way. Ether tablet is not so bad.
I mean, he could opt to do it. He hasn't done Spike Cave yet, so he could opt to do Ether on the way to Spike Cave. And of course, with Bombos, he can opt to do Purple Chest and tie that in with Bombos. So it's not too bad.
That's absolutely doable, but finding the book in Ganon's Tower would probably be preferable.
Yeah. So he does have to be a little careful here, only down to 2 hearts. And some of these enemies hurt. And it looks like Desert Eagle is opting to do the left-hand side first, which is good for him because he'll be able to get the big key and not have to really backtrack to check the big chests.
Pikapals is doing a very good job avoiding damage with only 2 hearts left. A single hit at this point from most of these enemies will kill him. He has the blue mail, which is what the game expects you to have at this point. So he does have the reduced damage, but it's still basically 1 hit's all he can take.
All right, let's see that Mimic Cave.
Checking Mimic Cave here will give him a new entrance point in the Turtle Rock. In case he does die, that will at least save some time getting back.
A useless medallion for us. We do not need an Ether at all. And something I want to point out on Desert Eagle's side, he was killing some enemies to get some hearts. I mean, down to 2.5 hearts, so you want to be a little safe. And something you could do is if you get a heart from an enemy, use the hook shot because you have a chance that it becomes 2 hearts when you hook shot it. Because of reasons. because of good programming.
That's an interesting strategy. I see a lot of players use hookshot to pick up items, even when those items are essentially next to them. I never knew there was a reason for it, though.
Yep.
I just assumed it was a swag thing.
Oh no, Pikapals locked himself out. Oh, got hit by the whole roller pin. Not too bad, because like you mentioned, he had that entrance from Mimic Cave, so it could be worse. But that was a large hitbox. I'm honestly surprised he got hit with it. It didn't look like he was that close to the roller pin.
That roller pin, I think in Greenmail, it does 6 or 8 hearts of damage. It's very,
no, not that many, but it is a lot of.
With Greenmail, I don't know.
Thought it was 4. But hey, don't get hit by it. That I think is the lesson here. Well, even though the Pikachu sprite looks chubby, they still have the same hitbox regardless. The alternate sprites would not be allowed if they change your hitbox size.
Can't Asmaria failing Pikapals. He drops down the block and walks right through it. Falls into the pit. So we got Desert Eagle doing his Argus fight. He is taking the strategy of picking up 2 puffs at a time to kill them with a single Master Sword Spin.
Got half magic, got cape. Might as well use it the whole way. Laser bridge, and we got boots!
Well, that is our progression item. Pikapals is choosing not to open up that second entrance, confident in his ability to kill Trinex with 5 hearts of health.
Oh wow, and just a sliver of magic here, which I guess wasn't enough to drop a block. So, absolutely had to come into Turtle Rock, basically full clear because boots were the last item anyway. But you could not go mode this dungeon regardless. Let's see if he gets a 0 cycle Trinex here. No, didn't go for it. That's okay. Gonna get a 1 cycle probably. Here's a green pendant for Desert Eagle. We'll see if he opts to turn it in right away. And then what is he going to do? Because we know his mitts are sitting on Bumper Cave. So it's really a question of when is he going to make his way there? Is he going to go into Thieves first and try to clear that instead?
Pikapals does take a hit, but is able to kill Trinex before taking that second hit. And gets his map.
So we still need Desert, and of course, Pikapals can beat Desert now with those boots, but we're looking for that Bombos. Bombos equals go mode. And it looks like Desert Eagle is going to pick up his Tempered Sword here. Now, he cannot go into Ice yet because you need mitts to get in there.
Pikapals, by not leaving, looks like he's probably going to be... Oh, actually, you're right. He has these 6 items to check, and then most likely will do an Ether Tablet check and a Spike Cave check, which will be his terminal location and a good save and quit point. Just 2 big 20s in Super Bunny Cave.
We got 4 more items here. I don't think there was anything good up on the island there, in the Skyloft.
Definitely not a Bombos tablet.
No.
A Bombos medallion, rather.
Yeah, and with Book, yeah, they basically have... Oh, there's silvers. That's nice to have. And more rupees that they could have used earlier.
Well, those silver arrows would not have helped him at all on Turtle Rock, so that he did not lose any time by not checking these spots first.
All right, Desert Eagle's heading right. He's not doing Thieves first. This will actually turn out really well for him. He's about to pick up his mitts.
This is the progression that Desert Eagle definitely has been waiting for, so he will be quite happy when he finds these. And Ether just gives us a triple boom. So we obviously know that Bombos cannot be in Mire. So this leaves basically the Blacksmith's Chain, Spike Cave, and a desert item at this point, I think.
Right, we haven't seen Spike Cave because unfortunately Desert Eagle died while doing it. So it could be here. There's still one item in Desert as well. I don't know if you mentioned Desert.
Yeah, it says the Spike Cave, one item in Desert, and then
Okay.
the Blacksmith's Chain. And the Bombos.
The Bombs of Frustration from Desert Eagle getting them mitts.
Pikapals is completely done on Dark Mountain, on all of Death Mountain until Ganon's Tower. So he is just starting his Bombos hunt, but fortunately he does not have too many places left to check. I guess he never did the Ice Rock Cave check.
With boots, it's nice. Can you just run up there? Oh, and with boots, we haven't seen Flanctuary or King's Tomb yet. So those are two more locations.
That's a good point. I did forget that boots unlocked 2 new spots.
So a fair number of places, just looking for that one last item here. Looks like Pikapals is going to finish up Desert. Oh, and Fat Fairy, because that is a thing.
Finishing Desert first makes sense. He has to finish Desert anyway for the crystal. If that has the item, then he's done.
You're just double checking. Was this Bombos? Did I really need Bombos? Yes. Yes, you do.
That's a smart decision, double checking. Everyone's been in that spot where they mismark something on their tracker.
Yep.
Desert with boots now, the way it was meant to be played. Nice, all these nice long hallways. It's a joy to speed through. Boots, Butter Sword. It's going to be a very, very fast dungeon. Desert is also in the Mire area now, checking the exterior places. Desert is checking the desert.
All right, we got one more item in here. Getting the crystal does unlock our Pyramid Fairy for 2 more items. Okay, I was wondering if Desert was going to steal key.
Desert Eagle killing the Desert Eagle. Please do it. Please do it.
Oh, just a piece of heart for the last item here.
Unfortunately, he's going to find that that he is not boot locked when he checks this torch.
Alright, so yeah, that's all Desert Eagle can do here. It's actually funny, they're both in the same dungeon, but those boots making a big difference. I mean, I think at this point, if Desert Eagle opts to do the Blacksmith Chain and get lucky with the Bombos, that'd be okay, but he still needs to hit Turtle Rock and get those boots first. And he knows he needs it. He has that knowledge. Man, silver is no problem for Land, though.
I'm trying to think where Desert Eagle might be headed.
Oh, I think we're getting ice.
He's making the same play that Pikapals did, choosing to do ice first.
I believe Pikapals is going to go for the blacksmith chain now.
That makes
Chain
sense.
of items.
You
know what? I'm surprised we haven't seen powder or mushroom yet. Commentator's curse, come on!
Yeah, he can only get the 3 items without the powder. Unless, of course, he picks out the mushroom.
We're only 130 in. We can get a couple more trolls in this seed. I
saw a clip on one of the tournament races where somebody only did, I think it was like 7 or 8 of the hammer pegs and it opened. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, right. So the way that works is that there's a counter for these hammer pegs. So it's basically just keeping track of how many pegs you put down. It doesn't look at which pegs you put down. It's just a straight counter. If you put some of them down, leave, and come back, you know, the counter is still saved, so you only have to do like half of them or whatever it is that you missed out on.
Okay.
So it's weird, but yeah, it's just a counter. So if it says, hey, you knocked down 12 pegs and you still have to do, I don't know how many are there, another 12, you come back later, you do the 12, you're done. It's really weird.
I'm glad that you knew the answer to that, because I tried replicating the video, you know, hitting a chicken in the first swing. Everything I thought that might be contributing to it, I couldn't reproduce it.
That would be so good if there was actually a trick to like hitting one of the dead chickens and then knocking down some pegs to make it go faster.
I saw that clip and I said that somebody must have known about this, and I would have seen it before.
So Pikapals, since he fluted over here, although it's faster to turn into purple chest, he will not be able to do bombos right away. All right, we're starting to run out of things to do. We still have Fat Fairy. We have the bombos tablet, and of course, we also have the dash locations up by Sanctuary.
Well, the dash locations are faster to access through a saving quit and start at Sanctuary, so I would expect a Bombos check followed by the Pyramid Fairy and then the saving quit if he's still looking for Bombos Medallion. After that, I don't know if there's anything left.
So Desert Eagle does have his Butter Sword. He's making his way through ice here. Unfortunately, without getting a small key until later on, it's a bit slower of a clear. Not much you can do here. No, I think the last item was on Calzera. Vanilla Bombos. Vanilla Moon Pearl, Vanilla Bombos. What is this seed? We are in go mode for Pikapals.
132 go mode is not too bad at all, and with only 1 dungeon left to clear, Meyer will be up at Gan's Tower in probably about 5 minutes.
It's really a question of where that big key is in this at this point. So we have 2 guessing games for you, chat. You can guess. This is just for fun. You can guess which chest in here in Meyer has the big key, and then of course we will have the official guessing game for the GT big key coming up soon.
Yes, being a ALTTPR randomizer channel versus a speed racing channel, the official guessing game it doesn't count towards the leaderboards, but we do hand out internet fame for anybody who guesses correctly.
Guys, don't guess yet. I mean, you can guess for Meyer if you want. I would suggest location names though, not numbers, because otherwise people will get excited.
Yeah, you kind of created a double guessing game.
I did.
The Pikapals is only looking for the big key, and then he's going to go straight to the boss. That's all he needs at this point.
I mean, we know where the tunics are, and I think Pikapals even saw the tunics and just said no. He has all the bottles. He has silvers. There's really nothing else that he'd want to look for anyway.
Absolutely not. I think he still even has. I mean, he still has his potions. He didn't use anything. Gold sword is more than he's used to with any of his NMG practice. So yeah, there's nothing he's looking for.
Lamgwin guessing that the big key for Meyer is in the iced tea room in a different dungeon. This is not key sanity. We are done that for now. Wow, we have powder though.
Well, powder is my favorite item. Being able to get these anti-fairies in the late stage dungeons, Misery Mire, Turtle Rock, and Ganon's Tower, eliminates your need to make an extra potion shop trip before you make the climb.
Yeah, it is a nice safety to have. All right, Desert Eagle has to play a little safe here. He's down to 2.5 hearts. He does have a blue potion. Now, something to keep in mind, he just switched to cape, and it actually takes a second before you can use the cape. So you can't just automatically switch to it and it works. Blue cane, you can. So if you're like trying to get out of a jam, you're about to get hit, it's better to switch to blue cane if you have it than it is to cape.
That's definitely good information. Desert Eagle deciding to play it safe and use that blue potion rather than take the risk. Being this deep into the dungeon makes sense. Pikapals does pick up the big key and, of course, as expected, vanilla big key location. Right next to the portal, though, so he's going to be able to make that jump right down into the back half of Meyer.
Man, there's too much vanilla in this seed. Needs more chocolate. Alright, let's see how Cold Stare goes. Again, Butter Sword, not too bad. Just spin him into the corner. 3 more slashes in addition to spin. Dead.
Perfect execution. Desert Eagle, of course, is also a NMG runner. He's been spending a lot of time practicing that, so in NMG, doing a Tempered Sword Cold Stare fight using the exact same strategy is something that he would be used to, even easier with Butter. Normally, I would expect Pikapals to do sword spin strategies compared to Silver Arrows because it's just so fast, but with his low health, I do expect him to pull out the silvers.
You have a lot of arrows anyway, so it's not too bad. It looks like Desert Eagle's up on Dark World Death Mountain. We'll see if he decides to make the plunge into Turtle Rock, which would be good for him because that's the boots. All right, here we go.
Sorry, Jay?
I was going to say, does the bot work in here?
No,
okay,
there is no bot in ALTTP randomizer channels.
But
you can still do it for fun.
Yeah, you still can do it for fun. So, Pikapals just picked up his last crystals, so you know what time that is, chat. It's time to get your guesses in for the Ganon's Tower big key location. Pick a number between 1 and 22 of where you think the big key is, and, see if you win.
Pikapals getting blocked by that dead rock there.
Worst enemy.
And a terrible spot for it, too. So I like the randomizer room. That's just my personal preference because I like to show support for the randomizer community.
I like Bob's chess because I like to show support for Bob. He's unique.
I like to convert Bob into health.
What's so mean? The vote is dead rocks. I mean, that's an insta win. You're always going to hit dead rocks. And I swear the programmers put these dead rocks in the perfect location. They just know how to move, so they're gonna block you on the way to Turtle Rock. I don't know if I should be impressed that the programmers did this or just annoyed. I'm gonna go with annoyed.
Well, I know I've said this before, but I haven't said it here. I do believe that all the lag is not caused by the cabbages, but it's caused by the Dead Rock AI.
Yeah.
So Desert, he did the hookshot cave, Super Bunny cave checks on his way up, so he picked up his silvers, and he's now heading into Turtle Rock, and he will still do the full clear because he needs his Bombos tablet and his boots.
All right, let's count them up. See what Pikapals get. We only had one guess below 10. So chat is certainly hoping for at least some trolls here.
Nothing in the hope chests and no keys, so he can't even proceed further on the right side.
I mean, he could gamble tile room if he really wanted. Well, the elusive 10 bomb.
I don't think anyone's going to make that gamble.
Yeah. Well, I know of someone in chat who would make that gamble. He's not racing this one.
Is he not racing because he lost having made that gamble?
No, he won, and then he lost because of live split. Oh, there's the mushroom. There's the big key. Wow, number 4. So, none of us were right, but Song Leaves was the closest, so GG, number 4.
Number 5.
Number 5, because I forgot to count the torch. All right, Desert Eagle starting his way to get through Turtle Rock. Full clear. Just as a reminder, there were a total of 5 items in this dungeon that he could get, plus Mimic Cave for a 6th.
Yeah, Desert Eagle took a rage slash when he found that book.
Oh. And well, you need that book. So Pikapals does have to play it safe. Now he has his blue potion still though, but 2.5 hearts. He can take the safety room coming up here, which it looks like he will.
You take the safety room, and he also has the powder now, so he'll be able to pick up some fairies along the way at various locations.
True. Yeah, it's not too long to go into that safety room there.
And not at all, though. It is rare that you see one of the very high-end runners make that trip. Typically, they have some other safeties.
So aside from silvers, something else you might see runners use here is Bombos going through the gauntlet on Pikapals side. That's another item you can get. Now, the animation for Bombos is a little slow, but it's still guaranteed to kill everything there.
Yeah, that is a great strategy for beginners because those rooms can be very troublesome. The BMOs do high damage. All the enemies move. You got spikes. But with half magic, I actually I think the fire rod is an excellent choice in that room.
That's a good point, yeah.
Especially with the skeletons. You do have to wait for the death animations on the other guys, but it instantly kills the skeletons.
Good point.
So Pikapals is going to choose to use the Fire Rod here since he has half magic and he's full. That will save him a menu switch from Lamp to Fire Rod in the next room.
So Pikapals has 2 small keys coming up here. He doesn't have to kill these mini Helmasaurs for a key. He's basically good to go. Desert Eagle is about to enter Mimic Cave. He has plenty of health, so he shouldn't have too much trouble with the rest of Turtle Rock.
Pikapals opting to max out his health and magic at that last location, which is a great strategy before heading into Mega 2 and having no more opportunities to get more health or magic.
It's a quick Moldorm too.
It's very fast.
And a shield. So we're missing 1 shield. I mean, there's a fair bit in GT that we just didn't see, so there's a good chance that the Bugnet, Blue Cane, and probably the other shield were there somewhere.
Well, maybe we'll get to see a little bit of value from that fire shield during the Aika 2 fight.
That's true, because it does block the blue balls when it splits.
Pikapals is getting excellent positioning. It's going to be a 3-cycle Aika. Oh, no, not 3-cycle. 4-cycle.
Must have been a double hit. But still, quick Aga.
Yeah, so sometimes those hits can look like he got hit twice, but it'll only count as 1.
Yeah.
Desert Eagle claiming his victory over that roller pin, getting through successfully without getting killed. So half magic, silver, butter. It's going to be a very quick cannon fight. 6 hits in phase 1, 6 hits in phase 2. Should be 1 cycle.
All that health. Yeah,
He's done phase 2. Unfortunately, it looks like Pikapals is trying to buffer all the damage for phase 3 and 4. but you do have to wait, unfortunately. Or maybe he's just taking a little frustration out for that vanilla bombos.
Desert Eagle is going to take the safety cave because he's down to 1.5 heart.
That's a very good decision. Pikapals very narrowly avoiding getting hit by Ganon there at the edge.
Oh, careful.
He's having a rough phase 4, getting a bad hit on the edge as well. Nearly fell off. But manages to get the final arrow in and successfully defeats Ganon.
There we go. Pikapals takes game 2 for him. This is a Swiss round. While Desert Eagle finishes off the laser bridge here, he's gonna... Looks like he's taking a death here because he's about to run out of magic.
So Pikapals will advance to the 2-0 round, and you'll face a randomly selected opponent from a pool of 128. Desert Eagle will be in the 1-1 round and face an opponent from a pool of 256 players.
Let's see where I saw him.
So we have Pikapals in a waiting room. We will be pulling him in for an interview in just a minute.
Hello, Pikapals, GG.
Hey, thanks.
Congratulations on your win, Pikapals.
Thank you. That was an alright seed. That.
Well, I'm glad you checked pedestal for us. It was tempting, I know, at the time, because we were actually wondering, we were hoping a little bit hopeful that myths were on the pedestal.
I mean, of course they were, right? There was nowhere else they could be. They definitely weren't plainly visible in the dark world.
That's right. And you guys got cape early from thieves, so yep, they were sitting there just out in the open for so long, but it was just more tempting to go to those item-rich locations. So definitely can't blame you for that one.
It was the worst pendant setup possible because it's all 3 dungeons you want to do for items, and you can't do them.
But other than that, the Seed had a ridiculous escape with a ton of items. A ton of items early on, and with the vanilla Moon Pearl, like, you know, you guys, unfortunately for Desert Eagle, he when he said he trolled himself, that's because he forgot Hera and that he could reach Hera.
Oh no, that's not
so
good.
It didn't take too long. Eventually he realized, but he actually ended up farming rupees for Zora first.
Yeah.
Before going to Hera. So that's sort of what set him back. And he was doing okay after that, but he also trolled himself a little bit with the hook shot because he left as soon as he got Moon Pearl. And that would have been okay because we found out, of course, Swamp was worthless, but he went back to get hook shot and then did Swamp. So that's basically what happened there.
Yeah. That'll definitely set you back a ton.
There was a significant period of time where you had decided to clear the Pendant Thieves Town, the Pendant Swamp Palace dungeons, and fortunately you didn't find any progression at those locations. Desert Eagle, due to his different routing, skipped those locations, and you were in pod at basically the same time. Unfortunately for Desert Eagle, rather than head up to Bumper Cave, like we were saying, he did go back and do Swamp, but there was a period of time where you guys were only a few minutes out of sync.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's always an awkward spot. Like, I feel like Graveyard Ledge, Bumper Cave a little bit, but like that Graveyard Ledge location, it's just an awkward location to get to sometimes. So if there's progression there, it can take a while to get there, even though it's like open so early.
Yeah, like usually I actually just, if I have the mirror, I immediately go do north of Graveyard and check Bumper Cave along the way right after Skull Woods. But recently I've been just messing around with the idea of waiting until you get at least boots or cape before going that way. And
oh, okay.
Actually, this is the one time that didn't pay off.
That's right. Oh man, yeah, that's a good point because you guys had mirror like right away before Dark World even.
Yeah, that was part of that loaded escape.
Yeah, that was an excellent escape. You were able to get the bomb. Unfortunately, Desert Eagle wasn't able to farm a bomb and had to make that backtrack as well. But Bumper Cave is one of those ideal locations where you are able to just see the item out in the open. Very early, even if you can't access it. So, but that having the myths just sitting out there, I can imagine that being frustrating when you finally make it up there.
Yeah, it was definitely like full clearing swamp and pod for nothing. Always feels bad, but
yeah,
especially when they're pendants. But yeah, then it's just I can go check pedestal or like one of these one-off locations that I've left alone the entire game.
Well,
you just have to think about where your opponent might be at the time because you're like, did he also clear these dungeons, or did he skip them and he's like 10 minutes ahead of me?
Yeah, pretty much. When I saw he said he trolled himself, I was thinking like, oh, did he find the myths at like Ice Rod Cave or something?
Oh.
Heading out of Turtle Rock, you had obtained both the boots and the book, which unlocked a number of one-off locations. You had leftover one-off locations remaining, and to find Bombos on that Bombos tablet, I think that was either your last possible or one of the last possible places you possibly could have gone to?
I had Pyramid Ferry after that, and then bonk locations I didn't get to, but that was it.
Yeah, it looks like you were just basically setting up to go do the Fat Ferry after that, and then I assume you were just going to, save and quit or continue over to the bonk locations.
Yeah, pretty much. I kind of forgot about the bonk locations until I was like going to Bombos. So
okay. Yeah, so overall, I think that was a pretty generous seed, and it was up to the runners, both of you guys trolling yourself in a way, either the lure of the pendants taking you away from where the progression is.
Yeah, it's just the seed was like you get everything immediately, and then it's just find the last. I think it was 4 or 5 items.
Yeah.
Well, given the number of places that you went to, a 148 time is definitely respectable, especially considering all the pendant dungeons. So congratulations on that. Congratulations on advancing to round 2, of course.
Yeah, thanks. It's nice to start off 2-0. Definitely makes it a lot nicer.
Yep. Just a reminder for chat, there are going to should be 7 rounds, I think, for this Swiss, just because of how many people are in this race with over 500 racers. But yeah, 2-0 early on, very nice. Oh, Desert Eagle going right to Bombos. He's going to be pleasantly surprised that he's going to be in go mode shortly, and he also just has to beat Meyer, and then he'll be done. Well, and GT. You got to beat GT.
Well, that would be excellent routing luck for Desert. He will be able to at least accomplish his personal goal for the race.
Yeah, he should be finished within 15 minutes now. With that early key, the big key there in GT. So yeah, I don't know if you knew this, Pikapals, but he told us he just wanted to finish within 30 minutes of you. That was his own personal goal.
Yeah, he was kind of talking about the same thing when we were chatting, setting up the match.
Okay. I mean, he is one of the new racers, just joined this tournament. So, and of course, you are a veteran of many tournaments.
Yeah.
I remember watching you steadily improve, too.
I know. I somehow got the best beginner's luck in the last spring tournament and somehow made top 8 of that. I'm still not sure how that happened.
Did you compete in the Fall Open tournament, Pikapals?
Yeah, that one didn't go so well, but I'm going to blame Challenge for that one because it matched me up against Gem at 3-1 and AJ Neb at 3-2.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
Well, 8th in the standard and 4th in the key sanity is that's a pattern. So, you can take pride in that and blame bad luck for the Open tournament.
Yeah, I've definitely done well in every tournament except that one. And 3-3 isn't too bad, especially with how many good runners there were in that one.
Well, you did face the person who won both of the tournaments that year, so it's only so much you can do.
Yeah, it didn't really help out.
All right, so any other thoughts that you'd like to say about the seed or the race or anything?
Not really. It was a pretty nice seed. Good luck to Desert Eagle in his future races. It seems like he's doing pretty well. I'm sure he'll be able to win a few more matches at least.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you for volunteering to put on this race for everyone to enjoy.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun.
All right, GG again, and you're welcome to stick around, or if you need to get going, feel free.
Sure, I'll probably just hang around and chat then.
Okay.
Desert Eagle picked up his powder, putting it immediately to use on that anti-fairy.
Yeah, again, that's a really nice safety to have. Probably, as we were talking about earlier, the last safety our runners can even get at this point. Blue Cane doesn't even do much except for that being able to activate it instantly as soon as you switch to it in your inventory.
Right, and neither of the runners ever picked up the net, so he can't stockpile fairies, unfortunately. But he's at the point in the game where the anti-fairy density is so high that you typically don't really have to go too far before you find one. And he of course is going to find the vanilla big key, and he'll be able to make the move directly to Vitreous.
The nice thing about having the big 20s in the right hand side of GT means there really is no way you're going to get the big key any slower. I haven't seen a runner actually skip the Stalfos room. Not when you're going left.
Absolutely. I mean, some people will do the Stalfos room only on the left side prior to going right.
Yeah.
Doing the two right side chests, the hope chests, even if he were to continue and do tile room for in the unlikely event, we know he's not going to find anything, so that will only cost him a minute. So with Pikapals having completed his race and leaving, if anybody in chat is opting not to stick around for the remainder of Desert Eagle's race, I will just remind you before you leave to take a look at Pikapal's channel, give him a follow, and of course give Desert Eagle a look in as well. Both of our runners taking the time to put on this show for us to watch. There are over 2,000 races in this tournament, but it still takes a lot of nerve to get up in front of hundreds or thousands of people to play in front of everybody. So show your support, give them a follow.
Silver's Vitreous, no problem. Although those eyeballs still deal a ton of damage. He has red tunic, and they still did like 2 hearts of damage.
Yeah, they do 4 hearts of damage with green, and there's a 75% reduction with red. Wow, I thought they did 4 hearts. So
I think so when you're just in green. And the thing is, you really want to make sure you touch the slime instead. It's much better to have invulnerability frames because it's only 1 heart of damage compared to the 4. If you're doing any percent NMG, 4 damage from the from the eyeballs is no joke. Yeah, Pikapals had that insane map check. Like, glance, okay, I'm done. I sold my pendants. All right, Desert Eagle getting a safety potion, and then he's going to make his way up the GT.
Well, at this point, he has so much money, might as well.
Oh, he has a B still. He's keeping the B. Oh, that's nice.
Well, if he's keeping the B, then we're going to see some Ganon B strats.
I hope so.
Desert Eagle is gonna use this opportunity to give us a little bit of swag.
Let's see if he has some difficulties with the dead rocks. So one option, of course, you can see Desert Eagle doing this, taking the south warp. Now, it does add about 2 seconds or so. But of course, you don't have to deal with the dead rocks, which are just annoying. All right, chat. Get your guesses in. Pick a number between 1 and 7.
Pick a number between 1 and 4 and 6 and 22.
$1. You always got to bid the $1.
Well, since the guessing game, it doesn't count on the leaderboards, we can have an unofficial round 2, that's unique to Desert Eagle. So I'm gonna go with 3. I'm gonna say he's not gonna make that right side check.
Go with 6, because I don't think anyone said 6 yet.
Well, unfortunately, 3 lost.
It would have been so nice to see the tile room gamble, actually, just to see it pay off with, like, the bug net. Don't know where that bug net is.
Well, Pikapals is still in the chat. We could ask him to go bug net hunting.
I don't know. Bugnet is one of those, trolley. Hey, I got it. Oh, okay. Number 5. It's the same path. The left-hand side.
Ask him to turn in the mushroom and find out what the witch had.
Oh, no. We would have seen it on the credit dialogue. I missed it too, though. So Desert Eagle has plenty of safeties. He has a couple of potions. Lots of hearts, red tunic, half magic, plenty of arrows. So these mimics a little weird here. You can it's just the text whether you're holding a direction. It doesn't matter if your sprite moves. Which is why you can do things like slash a sword and hold a direction. The mimics will move. If you hold onto a wall or a statue, and that's why they have the statue in that room, you can pull on it and do the different directions. The mimics will move even though you don't move very much. So it's not based on your movement so much as what input you're putting into the controller.
The nice thing about the mimics, especially the mimics in the second room, is that because they move in response to your actions, everybody has a slightly different strat.
Yeah, and you can always they spawn in the same location, so it's sort of like the blind fight where it's basically the same each time, assuming you set it up the same way. Oh, move in the same way.
So Desert having no trouble with the first 2 rooms in the gauntlet.
Oh, blocked by Beamos.
There's always a little bit of joy when you get to snipe one of those guys when he's on the conveyor belt.
Yeah. Wow, that Stalfos just stopped when he was about to get hit. How did he know?
Desert Eagle deciding to check the stun prize on the final Stalfos.
That's a good thing he potioned right there. Two out of three, not bad.
I think
Be a little tricky lining up the shot.
You did manage to get one sword hit on that Lamos in the first cycle, so it only needed one more on the second cycle. So still a very fast Lamo 2 fight.
It's also good knowledge to have which pots give you what items in these dungeons, knowing where the hearts and the magic refills especially. Sometimes arrows and bombs, of course, can help too. And it's the sort of thing you might pick up over time just by playing the randomizer or practicing the game itself. So Desert Eagle picked up a health refill, a heart, after land mode, so it's good to know that that's there.
And Desert Eagle gets through the Wit's Rope slaughter rooms with absolutely no trouble. The Wit's Rope slaughter rooms and the second room of Eastern, when you have the boots, the Popo slaughter dash room are probably my two most favorite rooms in the game.
Oh, he had one less key. 1, 2. How did we get that situation?
Did he? He may not have picked up the key in the second room on the left. Okay, Desert decides to skip the bomb.
So the reason he was able to do that, he heard there is a sound effect that plays when you open up the wall there, but there's a glitch. I think there's just a perfect placement you can place the bomb where it doesn't change the wall, but it still opens. So it's not a clip. The game just didn't change the wall.
Well, he's just showing off at this point.
He's showing off with that mini Moldorm and the bumper.
He met his 30-minute goal. He's gonna have some fun and just walk through walls, do whatever he wants.
Well, he's cutting it close to the 30 minutes though. He's gonna have to beat it soon. I mean, he has butter and he has silvers, so knock on wood, he should be fine.
He can do it in 6 minutes.
Come on, Desert, you got this. You got this. Oh, he has another blue potion. He's got this. Nice. Didn't have to use the safety potion.
He's trying to get that bat.
Well, if he can kill it then, he doesn't have to fight Ganon, right? Isn't that how that works?
He has the butter sword. Do you think that should be able to do damage versus that bat? So you can complete the game without the flute, but you still get the duck.
Yep, so you always have at least one flute use at the end of the game.
Does that show up as a flute use in the tally?
Yes. The reason is because the counter for the flute use is just based on the flute song. I think, actually, I should try that out. So I wonder if using it in the dungeons will just increase the counter. That's a question for our devs. I'm not really sure, but I do know it counts as a flute use, even if you don't have the flute.
Desert did decide to go pick up that safety fairy from the bonk tree. I would let him keep his potion a little longer. He might decide to use a cape and benefit from that magic prior to using his blue potion.
And thankfully, with Red Tunic, he's not going to take too much damage. Just don't hug Ganon, and you're okay. Yeah, flute is not required. Even if you don't pick up the flute, it still counts.
And successfully dodges, baits and dodges the fire bat and gets the torch glitch.
Yeah, one thing you want to know for setting up the torch glitch there, you basically want to stand in the middle of the room first, wait for Ganon to throw out that first fire bat, and then move towards the torch. Otherwise, if you stand near the torch, you could get blocked by the fire bat, and then you can't get the glitch. And there we go for Desert Eagle, just shy of his goal there, or well, just succeeds in his goal. All right, so we have an official time of 2:15:42. And there we go. GG to Desert Eagle. And honestly, with those trolls still coming in within 30 minutes, I think that's pretty good. So I do want to give a quick message once again to make sure you give our racers a follow. They're in it. This is only week 2. We still have 7 weeks of this, just of this round of the tournament. So definitely give a follow to our racers if you want to see more rando action. Watch them, do some practices and their next tournament races. See if Desert Eagle decides to join us or not before we wrap things up here. So yeah, not very forgiving of a seed, not too trolly.
While we're waiting on Desert Eagle to see if he wants to hop into the voice channel, you can see that there's the links to the runners are in Twitch chat. Once again, give those guys a look. Also, thank you to our restreamer Hanson and our tracking Merc249. I cannot put on the show without their assistance, and of course, thank you to my co-commentator Jet082.
Yep, and thank you, Tiro, for joining me on this. Desert will be joining us shortly. We'll do a quick chat before we end things up here. Hey, Desert. GG.
Thanks, GG.
You did it. You got your goal.
By 3 minutes. But I did it.
That counts.
That counts.
I forgot I had the mirror. I forgot to mark it on my tracker, and
that's what happened.
Everything but what I needed to do.
We noticed after a while. We're like, why didn't he go right up the Hera? And then you went, you farmed rupees and everything, and then you stopped for a moment. Like, what did I miss? I'm like, oh, he forgot he had the mirror, because you got it like right at the end there, the back of escape with your sword. So you probably were, and boomerang. So I think you had to like mark everything and probably just missed the mirror there.
Yeah, you picked up the you had to go back to the back of escape. Unfortunately, you weren't able to pick up a bomb on your initial route through,
Right.
and missing out on that early sword and mirror was definitely an inconvenience. But when you pick up the sword and then the mirror, sometimes you don't notice that second item because the first one is so great. I did want to ask you though. You decided to make an attempt on Aga's Tower without having the lamp. What were your thoughts on that play?
Yeah, I was trying to think of a way to get to the Dark World,
Right.
or get over there by the pyramid area and think about not having the lantern, and then it went into my mind like, oh, Zora must have lantern, so that's why I started farming rupees, and
okay, yeah, that makes sense. So, I mean,
and I realized I had.
It was a bit of a setback when it came to, finally getting that Moon Pearl up at Death Mountain, but it actually wasn't too bad. Pikapals went right for pendant dungeons. Like, he ended up full clearing Thieves, then he went the full clear Swamp, followed by full clearing Pod. So he was clearing all of these dungeons, and you sort of actually made up a little time because you only did the first half of Thieves, which was the only thing required. Both Cape and Quake were there, and so you skipped out on that, and because you missed Hookshot earlier on, you never went into Swamp, so it was actually, you were both in Pod at the same time. So it was actually turning out to become closer at that point. It's just that when you got the Hookshot, and of course, item density telling you go to Swamp is sort of when you fell behind again. But definitely can't blame that move. The myths just sitting out there on Bumper Cave for you to see. I did see the frustration. Bombs.
So that's a funny thing. I forgot where I tried to go the first time. I have bombs. I should go buy some. And I was like,
yeah.
I have flute. I'll check Agnes Cave. Got there and like, oh yeah, I don't have bombs.
Yep. I know I've done that before where I'm like, oh, wait, I can't do, some bomb location, Ice Cave or something. Let me go over to Agina instead. Because it's in the back. You can enter the first cave and you sort of just forget you need bombs for the last part. It's definitely a thing that happens.
Well, what I liked was that you went to Agina's cave, and then you found that you didn't have the bombs, so you had to leave. You went to purchase bombs, and then when you got back to Agina's cave, you used a bomb to bomb the chest out of spite.
Wasn't there was bombs in there or something, right?
I think so. It was
so, yeah.
Yeah.
You used one of those valuable bombs that you just got.
I was like, I just paid so much for these, but this is not okay.
You like Jet said, there was a period of time where you were only less than 5 minutes behind Pikapals at Pod, and unfortunately the myths were just sitting out there on Bumper Cave, but neither of you guys ended up routing that in. You essentially ended up following basically the same route that Pikapals did, with the exception of checking Bombo's tablet at the end there prior to some of the other overworld spots.
Usually I go up there. Often I try to go up there with low health and then get murdered by a murder daptle. But,
true to their name.
So much, and they never leave you alone.
Even if they're off screen, just barely off screen, they come back. It's really weird instead of the Ravens there, but that's the fun.
Myers Shed the first time, or when I was in that area, the murder daptle, and it went way far down and came from off screen back to hit me.
So, unfortunately, this does put you at 1-1, but that's okay. I think we'll see a couple more wins out of you to come. This is only the second round of the tournament.
I'm not surprised that I'm 1-1 after my pairing this week.
Right.
I'm very happy to know I was close for a while, at least.
You've had a unique experience in this tournament. You had a very weak opponent in your first round. Because your opponent didn't show up.
They were there.
Oh, I thought
time with Blind. He's a very new player, I think, and blind and then forfeit.
My sincere apologies. Then I thought that was a no-show match. I did not mean to disparage the opponent.
He gave it a good run, but Blind is a pretty tough guy. He's still tough for me a lot of times, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like it's one of those bullet hell games, dodging all the fight. Like if things go wrong, things can go very wrong with Blind. I would say like Mothula, Blind. I mean, a lot of the bosses, Mothula, Blind, Cold Stare, I would say are the big three that when things go wrong, it's just like, what do I even do in this situation? So yeah.
My Cold Stare fight felt very good.
Oh, Butter Sword, so nice.
Butter Sword on that guy.
Yeah. You had no issues with that fight. I know you've been practicing NMG a lot, so you were over equipped relative to what you're used to on Cold Stare, so that you had no trouble there. But yeah, like I said, I apologize again. I thought your initial match was an automatic win. I was going to say that you went from having no opponent to having a semifinalist from the last tournament back to back. So that was quite a swing.
I actually nothing against Pikapals, great player. I remember I woke up on Monday all excited to check my opponent, and I just was laughing for about 5 minutes. I was like, "Yep, that's not happening."
Well, I think that I messaged you and said, sorry for your round 2 loss before you even looked at the schedule.
Hey, you gave it a good try, and like we said, there were a couple parts where you guys were close. And I, can't really blame what happened. These things happen. You miss tracking something, that type of information. You recovered quickly, which is a good sign that you weren't like rechecking everything. You were able to recover, go to Hera quickly. So that's not too bad. And you just, got trolled with the item density. I mean, both of you guys did.
Yeah, I mean, it's a play that makes sense. It's a long 6 items.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't get big key in time, then it's really bad.
We were actually worried at that point that you were gonna end up going to Ped anyway. So I was really glad to see the first time we went to Village Outcast, you decided to go check Bumper Cave first and not go into Thieves. So again, a little bit of back and forth there about what you would do and for you to recover a bit. You made your goal within 30 minutes, so GG's to that. And we'll have to see who your next opponent is.
I'm hoping it will be someone more.
Well, as the Swiss rounds progress, people will be sorted into brackets that that ideally pair them with people closer and closer to their skill levels. So week 7, you should be facing yourself essentially.
Something to look forward to.
I can tell you the reason pedestal is I didn't have the book, so it wasn't even on my mind.
You're like, I'm not even going to worry about this.
Oh, I should check pedestal. Book, so I was like, well, I guess I'm not going there. And that's how that fell out.
Well, we did get a blind pull from Pikapals. It was just a big 20. I think it was a big 20, wasn't it? Yes, it was. All right. So, any last thoughts or words before we wrap things up here?
Again to Pikapals. And thank you guys for commentating and restreaming. I think that's about it.
All right.
Thank you, Desert Eagle. Just a reminder, there are...
thank you to the... Forget who it is.
I didn't hear... What was your question?
The tracker and restreamer.
Oh, Merc was our tracker, and Hanson was our restreamer.
All right, so I was just, like I said, I was just closing it out, reminding everybody that there are 6 speed gaming channels, 1 through 6, and 4 ALTTP randomizer channels, 1 through 4. There are, literally thousands of races remaining in this tournament. So take a look at those channels if you're interested in watching races, or do what many of us have done in this 512 person tournament, is just give it a try for yourself. It's very fun to play Randomizer. If you haven't played it, give it a shot. It's a very friendly community, very welcoming. A wide range of skill levels are accepted. There are daily races, weekly races, and of course these multi-year tournament races. So give it a shot, have some fun. That is it for me.
All right. Sounds good. So thank you all for watching, and have a good one. Enjoy the rando tourney to come.